Jaxson Dart is officially QB1. Welcome back to the Empire State Sports Report. I'm your host, Adrianna, also known as New York Giants fangirl on social media. This podcast is brought to you by the Believe Network and FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel Sportsbook is the #1 betting app to make all of your sports bets. You guys know I love me an NFL bet. So tonight is Thursday Night Football on Prime. The Cardinals take on the Seahawks, and the Seahawks are the favorites here on FanDuel. The line is 1.5 points, and the Seahawks are the favorites -126. Make sure to bet responsibly and check out FanDuel Sportsbook for all your sports betting needs. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into this game. The Giants take on the Chargers on Sunday, and they made a very big announcement that Russell Wilson is going to be quarterback 2 behind rookie quarterback Jaxson Dart. So I want to talk through a couple things in this episode. So we're going to preview the game. We're going to talk about Jaxson Dart. We're going to talk about the injury report. We are going to talk about some stats and, players to watch if this team can beat the Chargers. I think it's absolutely a tough match. In my opinion, I would have gone Jameis Winston this week and Jaxson Dart next week. Everyone has different reasons for this. Obviously, I'm not the coaching staff. They made the decision they wanted to make. They think that Jaxson Dart is going to help them win football games, and that is the move that they made. I just personally would have liked to see Jameis Winston this week and then throw in Jaxson Dart against the Chargers. But I do think the benefit here of throwing out Jaxson Dart right now, aside from the fact that we're hopefully going to see a better offense, is the fact that we all know this Chargers team is very good across the board. Aside from the fact that they're undefeated, we're going to talk through some stats that kind of just prove they're a damn good football team, and they've got good coaching too. So, it's definitely going to be a battle, but I think the benefit for Jaxson Dart is that there's probably low expectations going into this game, right? Knowing that they're going against a very good head coach and a successful football team through the first 3 weeks of the season. So maybe that will work out to his benefit. But let's talk through the injury report first, because there's, some good things and some bad things. So there are 5 players who did not practice yesterday, and I think it's probably about to remain the same today. So number 1 is Graham Gano, who is dealing with a groin injury. I think there's actually a chance that they put him on IR because they did go ahead and sign the former Falcons kicker, Younghoe Koo. So him and Jude McAdamney right now are both on the practice squad, and they are in competition, is what Dable said, to be the starting kicker on Sunday. So we will find out on Saturday when they do the practice squad elevations who won that kicking job. So stay tuned for that. As always, I post everything on Instagram and TikTok. My handle is New York Giants fangirl, all spelled out NEWYORK. Anyway, follow along on there because I go live. We have lots of fun over there. So Graham Gano is not playing on Sunday. Next up, we have running back Tyrone Tracy, who's dealing with a dislocated shoulder. Now, the speculation is that he will be out anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. So we're obviously not seeing him on Sunday. And whether or not he will go on IR is to be determined, as they have not made that roster move yet. Next up, we have Malik Neighbors, who's dealing with a shoulder injury. If you guys saw in the game against the Chiefs, he got absolutely smoked in the end zone. But he did speak to the media on Wednesday and said that, the number one things that he knows that's coming for Sunday is that they're going to figure out how to get, number 1, the ball. So he's playing on Sunday. There's no worries about that, even though he just probably had a rest day on Wednesday. He was not in any of the team drills, but he was doing some stuff individually. So I'm not worried about Malik on Sunday. He's going to be good to go. Next up is Nacho, who's dealing with a foot injury. Again, he did not practice on Wednesday, which was likely the only padded practice this week. So I don't think we're going to see Nacho this weekend. You never know, but I'm not optimistic about it where we're at right now. Last up, I want to talk about Theo Johnson, who's dealing with a toe injury and did not practice on Wednesday. Again, when guys don't practice on Wednesday, I don't feel very confident that they're going to go ahead and play on Sunday. So I'm going to go under the assumption that we are not going to see Theo Johnson on Sunday. If he's limited today, he probably will be listed as questionable on Friday, possibly doubtful. But where I'm at is this. I had really high hopes for Theo Johnson going into this season. I could say that a lot about the team as a whole and also about a lot of different football players. So it's not just Theo, but in my opinion, give us more Daniel Bellinger, especially if Theo's injured. I want to see Chris Manhertz as the blocker in the 2 tight end set, and I want to see Daniel Bellinger as the receiver. He's a big body wide receiver. He catches the ball way more often than Theo Johnson does. And he's been on this team for a long time. He knows the offense. He knows the play calling. He knows how to get open. I really want to see Daniel Bellinger more involved this week. So I hope that that's part of the plan, especially knowing that we're probably not going to see Theo. Next up, these are the players that were limited: Demetrius Flanagan-Foles, Chauncey Golston, Art Green, Darius Muasau, JMS, Darius Slayton, and Andrew Thomas. Now, out of that group, I'm not really worried about any of them. I think the biggest call out in this group specifically is Darius Muasau. He did not play last week because of his concussion. And, we obviously have struggled at the linebacker position as soon as Micah McFadden went down. We went on to the second, third, fourth string with all these other injuries. So I think Darius Muasau being back on Sunday is obviously going to give this defense a boost. Now, again, he's not Micah McFadden, but he's a lot better than Swayze Boos. So I think that having Muasau back on the field is going to help this defense. Listen, we need any help that we can get when it comes to bolstering this Chargers offense. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into some stats. We're going to compare these teams because in a lot of instances, the Chargers offense and defense is a hell of a lot better than this football team. But believe it or not, there are a couple stats where they're a bit closer than I think anyone expected them to be. So let's go ahead and talk through this. The Giants also, this is a fun fact, have not beaten the Chargers since the 90s. Now, they obviously don't play each other every year. They play every 4 years, so keep that in mind. But the Giants don't have a great track record, clearly, in the last 20 years, 25 years or so against the Chargers. So with that being said, in total offense, the Chargers are ranked number 6. The Giants are ranked number 12. Now, with a lot of these stats on offense and even on defense, the Cowboys game is such an outlier when it comes to this offense. So yes, the Giants are ranked number 12, but they put up 37 points against that Cowboys defense and have not even come close to that since then. So keep that in mind, that that's obviously a big part as to why these numbers are what they are. And I like to include that because as much as we all like to talk about stats and numbers and things like that, they do only tell part of the story. So the asterisk there is important. Next up, in regards to the passing offense, the Chargers are number 2 in the NFL. They are averaging 270 yards per game, and they have 6 passing touchdowns. Now, it's 3 games, of course, but in 3 games, the Giants have looked a hell of a lot worse. So speaking of, the Giants are ranked number 9 in passing offense. Again, they have 243 yards they are averaging and 3 touchdowns. Now, again, that Cowboys game, obviously, the way that they put up 37 points and the moon ball was aplenty that game, and Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson combined for over 300 passing yards, obviously an outlier from what we've seen this week. But with Jaxson Dart on this team, we're going to have an opportunity to see more passing yards, hopefully, throughout this entire offense. Next up, the rushing offense. Now, I want to talk about this because both teams are pretty much missing their starting running back. So with that being said, the rushing offense for the Giants, believe it or not, they're ahead of the Chargers here. They are number 21, the Giants. They are averaging 96 yards per game, and they have 2 rushing touchdowns. The Chargers are ranked number 24. They are averaging 92.3 yards a game and 1 rushing touchdown. Now, the rush yards per game, it's only a 4-yard difference in the run game between these two teams. So not a big difference at all. So the thing that I'm most curious of is the Chargers have lost Najee Harris and the Giants have lost Tyrone Tracy. Now, the difference is both of those teams, though, have really good backup running backs. Marion Hampton was picked in the first round for a reason. He was a stud coming out of UNC, and he's definitely about to get a hell of a lot more playing time. And we could say the same thing about Scattaboo, right? Is that he has come in, he has proven, even with Tracy on the field, that he deserves those starting team reps. Now, with Tracy gone, we're going to see a lot more Scattaboo this week, too. So I think the rushing attack on both sides, or on both teams this week, is going to be probably the most exciting part of this game. So I'm excited to see how the Giants can defend Marion Hampton and vice versa with Scattaboo. Now, Scattaboo is obviously having a great season so far with this Giants team. I want to see him take it to the next level this week. I also think we're going to see a lot of him knowing that him and Dart came in together. They've spent a lot of time together. Their lockers are next to each other. And obviously, during preseason, those two guys got a lot of time together. And the last thing I want to say with this rushing attack when it comes to the Giants is that they should elevate Turbo Miller. And one of the biggest reasons why I think they're going to do that, outside from the fact that Tracy is obviously not playing this week, is the fact that they didn't bring in any other running backs for workouts. They brought in linebackers, they brought in a kicker, they brought in special teamers. They did not bring in any running backs. So I feel pretty confident that we're going to see Turbo Miller on Sunday. And you guys know that I'm very excited about that. And I think there are a lot of Giants fans out there who are also Turbo fans. His speed, his catching ability, those things are hopefully going to be able to allow the Giants to have a successful screen game this week, which is, again, something we saw a lot between Scattaboo and Jaxson Dart throughout the preseason. And I know that preseason doesn't matter, but they have ran those plays together before, and I expect that that should be a big part of this offense moving forward. Let's go ahead and talk about the scoring offense, because this is where there's a very large discrepancy. And I know we all know that already after having watched 3 weeks of the New York Giants. The Chargers are ranked number 14, in scoring offense. They have 7 touchdowns, and they are averaging 23.3 points per game. The Giants are ranked number 27. They have 5 total touchdowns, and they are averaging 17 points per game. Again, the Cowboys game being that big outlier here. If they only put up 20 points per game, they're probably number 32 in the league. So that Cowboys game is obviously helping to boost their stats, but that's about all it did, because it didn't end up in a win, and it didn't help this offense have back-to-back weeks of successfully moving the ball down the field and scoring in the red zone. Speaking of the red zone, next up, let's talk about touchdown rate, because believe it or not, this is where these two teams are only 2 spaces apart, which when I saw that was actually shocking to me. But the Chargers are number 29 in touchdown rate at 40%. And the Giants only have half of that. They're at number 31 with 20% of the time scoring rate. So when we talk about the defense, the biggest thing that we're going to talk about when it comes to the red zone rate is that the Giants are number 31 here, okay, when it comes to scoring touchdowns in the red zone. The Chargers are the number 1 team, allowing only a 25% touchdown rate. So that is going to be the biggest struggle that I think the Giants have. And we'll talk through that when we finish out these stats, because we're going to talk about how Jaxson Dart could potentially help that. But let's now go through a couple more stats here. The last thing on offense is the third down offense. The Chargers have a 46.3% conversion rate. The Giants have a 27.5% conversion rate. Obviously, the third down has been something that the Giants offense have struggled with immensely. And the second and long and the third and long is something that the Giants defense have struggled against defending. Moving along to the defense, the Chargers are ranked number 8 overall. They've allowed 4 touchdowns, and they are averaging 276.7 yards per game. The Giants, on the other hand, are ranked number 31 in defense, with Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Abdul Carter, and Dexter Lawrence on this goddamn team, plus $100 million in the secondary. That's right. We're ranked number 31. Okay. They are averaging, have allowed 9 touchdowns and 405 yards per game. Again, the Cowboys game being that big outlier here. Let's see. The thing that I'm worried about is that for right now, that Cowboys game is the outlier. But if the Chargers come in here and whoop our ass and put up 30-something points again, it's not going to be just an outlier, right? We're going to be 2 out of 4 games, 50% of the time, we are giving up a lot of points to teams that have good offenses that can move the ball. So again, let's see how this game goes. Obviously, we're going to see, but the Chargers have a very good defense. When it comes to passing defense, they are ranked number 9. They've allowed 2 touchdowns and 182 yards on average. The Giants are ranked number 28. They've allowed 4 touchdowns passing and 252 yards average per game. Next up, of course, we have to talk about the rush. Chargers, again, top 10 here, you guys. They are number 9 in run defense, allowing only less than 95 yards on average per game, and they've allowed 2 touchdowns. The Giants, on the other hand, are ranked number 31 against the run, giving up 153 yards per game on average and 5 rushing touchdowns. I'm afraid we are going to see a hell of a lot of Omarion Hampton this week. Next up, let's talk about the scoring defense. The Chargers are number 4. They have allowed 16.7 points on average per game and 4 total touchdowns, while the Giants are number 24 in the league, and they have given up 27.7 points and 9 touchdowns. Again, Cowboys game, but still. Moving along to the red zone, like I said, the Giants are number 1 against the red zone touchdown rate on defense. So they are allowing just 25% of teams to score touchdowns when they're in the red zone. The Giants are number 29. Our red zone defense, 80% of the time has given up a touchdown. I want you to think about that. 80% of the time. And the Chargers are going to come in here with O'Marion Hampton and with 3 stud wide receivers in Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnston, who all of a sudden remembered how to catch the ball, and Keenan Allen. So we have a challenge ahead of us. That is for sure. The last stat that I have here that I want to cover on the offense and defense side of the ball is the third down defense conversion rate. The Chargers are number 11 at 35.6%, and the Giants are number 25 at a 45% third down defense rate. So we have our struggles cut out for us. Let's talk about ZipRecruiter real quick, and then we are going to get into Jaxson Dart, what he brings to this offense, and players to watch. Waiting for the right candidates to apply is time consuming. On top of that, you've got to sort through resumes, get in touch with candidates, find the right candidates, first of all, to even reach out to and make sure that the right ones. Well, the future of hiring looks much brighter because ZipRecruiter's latest tools and features help speed up finding the right people for your roles so you can save valuable time. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/audio. Over 320,000 new resumes are added to ZipRecruiter every single month. That means that you can fill your roles more quickly, you can reach more potential hires, and move on to get the job done. No wonder ZipRecruiter is the #1 rated hiring site based on G2 at ZipRecruiter.com/audio. Use ZipRecruiter and save time hiring. 4 out of 5 employees who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And you can go to ZipRecruiter.com/audio right now. You can try it completely for free. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/audio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Now, let's talk about this offense because obviously there's going to be some changes here with Jaxson Dart on the field. Now, again, I'm going into this game with low expectations because I do not believe that putting Jaxson Dart in here in this week against the Chargers means that we are going to see a completely different, magically creative, successful in the red zone offense. That would be a little crazy based on everything that we've seen from this coaching staff with 8 different quarterbacks. And now Malik Nabers is on his 6th quarterback in year 2, and he's only played, let's see, last year he played 15 games. So in 18 games. He's on his 6th quarterback. That's literally insane. We are an insane organization. Anyway, the thing is, there are going to be a lot of differences, though, that we should see with this offense. Now, again, a lot of us are very down on this coaching staff. Me included in that. So, again, I don't think they're going to completely turn this around, but this is what I do think we're going to see. I think we're going to see a lot more in the screen game. That, if I'm the Giants, that should be the #1 thing that they focus on this week. Get the screen game involved, especially when Andrew Thomas is out there, when the run blocking and the pass blocking is better. Allow someone like Turbo, allow someone like Scattaboo to break through those holes and move the ball down the field. I really, really want to see a heavier screen game this week. The second thing I want to see, get Malik Nabers involved in any way possible. I don't care if that means an end around, if it means the fun Statue of Liberty again, if it means a slant, a screen, a post, I don't care. Get the guy involved, but he is not a one-trick pony. This is not Jalen Hyatt we're talking about, okay? He can run he's got amazing hands. He can make contested catches. He's got the height. He's got the arm. He literally has everything you want. He's a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. Get him the ball. Make him the first read, and then you can move on. But we have to see Malik Nabers more involved this week. It's absolutely unacceptable that he did not have a single target going into the 4th quarter of the game last week. I don't care what the Chiefs defense was doing, and I don't care what the Chargers defense is doing. Malik Nabers is a stud wide receiver. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, the best NFL wide receivers in the league get targets, and the quarterbacks and the offensive play callers give them the chance to make the play on the ball. That's what we have to see out of this offense and Malik Nabers this week. #3, Jaxson Dart, for the love of all things holy, get your ass on the ground or get out of bounds and slide. I really hope that, knowing the fact that he is the starting quarterback for the rest of this season and knowing that this is his job, he's taking over, it's his plan here moving forward, it's his team. You got to get down. You have to slide. You cannot afford banging your head against the ground and being out for a couple plays because you're in the tent and they're checking you for a concussion. I really, really want him to make smart decisions about that when it comes to sliding, when it comes to fitting the ball in tight windows, when it comes to ball security, everything. I want to see him make smart decisions. Now, I know he's a rookie. I am prepared that he's going to make mistakes. I don't care if he throws an interception. I don't care if he fumbles the ball. In totality, I want to see him make smarter decisions than dumb decisions, right? Just overall, at the end of the game, none of us are expecting us to win. I don't know. Maybe some of you think we can win this. I don't until I'll believe it when I see it. But so I'm expecting him to make mistakes and I'm not expecting them to win, but I am expecting him to make smart decisions, like I said. So looking forward to see what he's capable of doing. Number 4, the thing that I want to see this Giants offense do is increase the RPOs. It's something that Jaxson Dart was really good at in college. We know he has the vision. We know he has the height so he can see the middle of fields, which is really helpful. And we know that he's got the speed to take off. He did it a lot in college. We saw him do it in preseason. Give him that option. And I think they're going to do that. I also think they're going to run a little more of a no huddle style offense, which is what, again, he did it in Ole Miss and had success with it. He did it in preseason, had success when there was no game planning, I know, but still, he had the experience doing it and doing it at an NFL level, which I think is important. The last thing that I want to see, and again, like the RPO zone read thing, we saw him have success with it last week. We saw Russ not have success with it. So no brainer here to use that more with Jaxson Dart this week. The last thing I really want to see is him utilize the middle of the field. And we knew this was going to be a thing with Russ and he wasn't able to do it. We know that Jaxson Dart has had proven success of him being able to do that. So I want to see him use all 3 different phases of the field. And I think he's going to be able to do it. Like I said, not expecting him to be perfect. I'm sure there's going to be drops, a couple inaccuracies, things like that. I just want to see him use it, right? I want to see a 10-yard pass right down the middle to Daniel Bellinger, exactly like what Dak Prescott threw to Jake Ferguson that we couldn't stop every damn time. I want to see some plays like that. And it's up to the play callers. It's up to Mike Kafka and it's up to Brian Dable to figure it out and come up with a good game plan. But I want to see stuff like that out of Jaxson Dart and this offense this week. So I definitely think him coming in is going to bring a different level to the offense. Like I said, I think there might be some room for a little more creativity. But again, I don't think this is going to be a 180 from the offense that we have seen over the last couple of years with this offensive coordinator and co. So the last thing I want to talk about is players to watch, but we did get an update real quick about Malik Neighbors at practice today and a couple other players. So Dable said that Neighbors will practice in some capacity today. He's going to take reps. He'll be okay. Quotes. Nacho, Tyrone Tracy, Graham Gano, and Chauncey Golston won't practice. Now, what's interesting is Golston did practice yesterday. He was limited. Hold on. Let me double check that real quick. Yes, Chauncey Golston was limited yesterday, so him not practicing today is not a good sign. So don't expect to see him. They did bring Tolman Fox back to the practice squad, so I could absolutely see them elevating Tolman Fox again if Chauncey Golston is not ready to go. So keep your eyes peeled for that coming probably on Saturday when they do the practice squad elevations. The last thing is from this offense as a whole is they need to be strategic about Andrew Thomas. If he is not going to play the entire game, then they cannot do what they did last week and play him 28 snaps in a row and then yank him off the field. I'm sure this time he's going to ramp up to 40, maybe 45 snaps. I don't trust them that they're going to go put him out there for a whole game. They did it for Dexter Lawrence. Why they're not doing it for Andrew Thomas, I don't know. Maybe because they're very worried about a setback, but they should have been worried about a setback with Dexter Lawrence too. I digress. I want them to be strategic about Andrew Thomas's snaps. If you are driving towards the red zone, get Andrew Thomas in there on the red zone. If they can move the ball down the field with Marcus Bowe rotating in there a little bit, then when you get to the red zone, you put in Andrew Thomas for a couple snaps. They have to be smart about that. They need to score in the red zone, especially in a game like the Chargers, where the spread right now on FanDuel, let's check it out right now, you guys. The spread is 6.5 points. You need to score touchdowns, which means be smart about putting Andrew Thomas in there. Get all of your betting needs at FanDuel Sportsbook and make sure to bet responsibly. The money line for the Giants, they are plus 245 to win this. The Chargers minus 300. Again, the spread is 6.5 points. O'Marion Hampton is minus 125 for an anytime touchdown score. And Cam Scadaboo is next. He is the first Giant up there at plus 100, and they have Malik Neighbors at plus 170. Jaxson Dart plus 350. I do think we will see Jaxson Dart running in the red zone quite a bit, so I'm excited to see that. Lastly, let's talk about players to watch. Obviously, I know we're all focused on number 6. All eyes are going to be on Jaxson Dart and, of course, Cam Scadaboo. Another guy I'm really excited to watch is going to be Marcus Bowe, and then, of course, Turbo, if they elevate him, which, again, I'm expecting them to. I am a big fan of Turbo's. I think his speed is something that absolutely needs to be utilized by this offense, and I really, really want to see him do that. On top of that, he has special teams capability. He should be used as a returner. So excited for Turbo. Marcus Bowe played a great game last week. He's probably going to get less snaps this week because Andrew Thomas should get more. But it's fun to watch him develop. I think it's exciting to feel like we have a capable swing tackle out there who can go out and step in for Andrew Thomas and not get mauled every single play, and you're not freaking out about your quarterback's blind side. So Marcus Bowe has been a very welcome addition to this team, and I'm really excited to continue to watch him grow and develop, especially on Sunday without Khalil Mack. Now, again, this Chargers defense is very good, even though they are missing Khalil Mack, but I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do on Sunday. Let's switch gears to the defense. Kayvon Thibodeaux, I believe I talked about this last week, but he is playing lights out. And that's one of the reasons why we have not seen Abdul Carter rotate in as much as an edge rusher. But I'm really excited to watch Kayvon again this week. For those of you who don't know this, back in 2019, Justin Herbert was a senior and Kayvon Thibodeaux was a freshman, and they played on the same team together. And Kayvon was asked about it recently, and he said that Herbert is a great football player. He has an immense amount of respect for him. He loved watching him ball out back when they were in college together, but he's looking forward to playing against him at the NFL level this year. And obviously, Kayvon is going to have the opportunity to sack Justin Herbert. So I hope that he does it. I think not only is a great storyline, but it just proves again that Kayvon is playing some of his best football. And I really want to see him get after the quarterback. And I feel the same way about Abdul Carter and Brian Burns. Brian Burns is an excellent tackler. He's been all over the field. He is having an incredible season so far. And I don't have any doubt that that is not going to continue on Sunday. Abdul Carter, I think with Darius Muasau back, we're going to see less of him as a middle linebacker, which is probably the smart move, although I do think he helped against the run last week. But I want to see him as that rotating guy. And if Burns needs a break, if Thibodeaux needs a break, if one of them comes out for a minute or you just decide to rotate them, for the love of all things holy, Shane Bowen, don't you dare fucking put out Tomon Fox. Why on earth would you put Tomon Fox out there instead of Abdul Carter? It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Please don't do that. You're going to have Darius Muasau back. And if you don't want to play Abdul Carter more, which I think is stupid, but play him in that rotational situation where one of those guys, Burns or Tibbs, needs a break. That's where Abdul Carter is best. That's where he needs to be. And then the last guy is Dexter Lawrence. I think he's finally coming on and looking more and more like himself. I think he had a slow start to the season because of the injury, because he didn't play much football. He barely practiced in the summer because he was on this plan from the medical team and the coaching staff. So I think the more he gets ramped up, the more we're going to see that Dexter Lawrence we all know and love. It sucks that it's taken him, until week 3, week 4 to get to that. But I really think that Dexter Lawrence is going to be looking more like the sexy Dexy we all know and love on Sunday. So I'm looking forward to that. And I do want to talk through one more guy real quick. I think that Cordell Flott has done a really nice job throughout this season so far. I think that, he had a little bit of a tough game last week. Him and Banks were a little bit more in the rotation with each other. When Cordell Flott gets those opportunities, I want to see him continue to make the plays. He was this close to getting an interception. He's had some really nice pass breakups. He's had some great stops on third down. I want to see him continue with that this week. In his 4th year with the New York Giants, he is playing the best football he's ever played, and I really want to see that continue. Obviously, from a selfish standpoint, it means that this football team is good, right? If he's able to make those type of stops and if he can close in and get an interception, but also from a perspective, like as a player, it's got to make him feel good, right? That he's out there, he's playing well, he's getting more snaps than Tay Banks, and he's proving that he deserves those snaps. So, I think this is going to be a really tough game for the Giants. I ultimately don't think that they are going to come out with a win. I hope I'm wrong about that, but I just don't have the confidence in this offense, in this defense right now. The stats prove it. The film proves it that, the defense is definitely better than what we are seeing out of them. And I really need Shane Bowen to harness them and get the best out of them. But I just don't think that it's going to happen this week against the Chargers. So ultimately, I think the Chargers are going to walk out of MetLife with a win. I think there's a possibility that the Giants could keep it closer maybe than we think. And again, I'd love to see them win. I need them to prove to me that they can score in the red zone first, and then I will believe that. So let me know what you guys think about the game on Sunday. I will be there. I will be at the women's tailgate first, and then I will be in at the game rooting on the Giants. I hope that they look like a functional football team and they go out there and beat the Chargers. Would be nothing better than being at MetLife Stadium at a Sunday at 1:00 game on a beautiful fall day to watch this team finally get their first win of the season. Hope to see some of you guys out there. Thanks for listening. Go Giants.